but I didn't have any more money because I'd just been throwing it at this business that was just going down and down and down and down. And at the time I was thinking, no, this ain't going to work. But, I just started just engrossing myself with these strategies. And before I knew it, within 2 years, I built back a multi-million pound property portfolio again.
Okay, right. I'm here with my main man, Mr. Carl Hutchings. How are you, Carl?
I'm very good, Jay. Thank you for having me today.
Okay, cool. Now, Carl used to play football, professional football for a living, yeah? He used to play for Brentford and, you started out at Chelsea and stuff like that. We're going to get into some of your story and the things of what you've done before in the past as we go through the podcast today. Well, one of the key things of what I wanted to dive straight into is 1 in 3 football players go broke, within 5 years of finishing a professional game. Now, how did you ensure that you didn't become that same statistic and fall into that same category? What was it that you did that was different?
So we're getting straight in.
Straight in.
Okay, no problem.
No messing around.
All right, that's a really good question, and the question that a lot of people avoid a lot of the time. I remember as a professional football player from a very, very early age, my main goal for myself was to make sure that I've got responsibility for my financial future. And whilst most players come into the game, obviously, you want the best career that you can have and the best contracts that you can have. The saying is, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you can keep. And I always had that mindset very early on that the money I was making, I had to keep it for a long period of time because I wanted to be in control of my financial future. I don't know where it come from. From a little kid, I always wanted to make money, just running around, selling anything I could, always wanted to make money. But I also had a mindset of, I want to keep this for a long time.
Okay. So you talk about that mindset, yeah? So where did that mindset come from?
I suppose in order to understand kind of like the mindset as an adult, most things are formed when you're young. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but all I can think of is growing up, as in a single family with just my mum raising us, with my older brothers having to fight for everything that we had, going hungry some days because there wasn't enough food for everybody. That mindset, I suppose, of, what we have today has to last. £5 has to last the week for the shopping. Going out with my mum saying, can we have that? Can we have that? No, you can't have that because this money's got to last. So I suppose somewhere, that mindset was formed in those early stages in my, growing up in that environment.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you played football for Chelsea, and I mean, look, give everybody a bit of an insight in terms of what your professional football career was like. Give us.
Yeah. So I started off at Chelsea from the age of 10 years old, basically. Going there 2-3 days a week, right the way up until I was sort of like 15, 16. And at 15, 16, I got told that I wasn't good enough. I was probably too small, and they wasn't sure, whether or not I could take the next level. They said they had other better players that was coming in my age group. So from there, obviously, lots of disappointment and stuff like that. However, I was very lucky at the time to have a couple of good people around me, mentors, family members that I looked up to, and they encouraged me to keep going. So literally 2 weeks later, I ended up in a trial game for Brentford. By half time, I was getting dragged off the pitch, being told, look, we want to give you a contract. We want you to be a YTS. I was just over the moon to even think that another football team wanted me at the time. So with that, I ended up staying for 2 years as a YTS, got signed professional at 17, signed professional forms, ended up staying with Brentford for another 7 years thereafter. Playing over, I think it was 250 games or whatever it was, maybe 300 games for Brentford. From there, I went to Bristol City, then moved back to London and played for Southend and Leyton Orient. At 29, I always, as I got older, I was always like focused on the future. You mentioned about why do players go broke? The main reason is because they don't focus on the future. being a professional football player is a 10-year span, if you're lucky. You know, most players are going out the game within 4 to 5 years. You know, if you're lucky enough, you get 10. If you're really lucky, you get 12, 13, you know. I knew by the age of 30, I wanted to be out. I wanted my next career to start. I didn't know what that was going to be from a very early age until I started playing. Probably by the age of 22, I'd already planned my exit.
Okay. Because obviously being a football player, you know, no doubt, you know, everybody, when you think of a footballer, you just think, yeah, making money, this is you know, you've got that life, you know, you're going to have that life for the rest of your life. You just assume that a football player is killing it. How could they ever go broke? You know, so, you know, you've mentioned that they're not planning for their financial future. Like, you know, tell us a little bit more in terms of like, well, you know, where their mindset is at. You know, how come your mindset was, you know, all right, well, 30 years old, I want to be starting my next career, you know, like, you know, that's where your mindset was. But, you know, how come the majority of the football players, you know, you would have thought they've got good people around them, giving them good advice. And, you know, how come so many football players, and people won't even believe the amount of football players that actually do go broke? Why do they, you know, where's their mind at?
Okay, so first we need to go back, because don't forget, you know, I played in an era where, yes, you know, at the time, relative to the prices of houses and relative to, you know, the cost of living back then, yes, the wages were good. However, they were nothing like what they are today. Yeah. So, you know, maybe I'll give you an example so you can figure it out. My first house, 1-bedroom flat that I bought in Fulham was £69,000. Yeah. That house today is worth £500,000. Mm-hmm. It's a little 1-bedroom flat still. Okay. My wages that I was on when I bought that was probably £500 a week. Yeah. Now, £500 a week, 25, 30 years ago, going back 30 years ago, £500 a week was a lot of money. It was equivalent enough for someone today to be able to buy a £500,000 house, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, you know, yes, we was making money. Yeah. And, you know, it was relative to what other people my age was making. You know, it was probably 5-6 times more than that. Today, you know, at the same level, the money that players are making, and you ask the question, how do they go broke? It's just bad decisions. You know, it's bad advice, listening to the bad people and making bad decisions. I always had the mindset and this is something that I preach to other players, young players and people coming out of the game. Learn about your money, learn about your finances. You'll have this person, that person, your agent, this other person telling you, you know, in an IFA telling you should do this, you should do that. They don't know any better than you. They're not earning the sort of money you're earning. Yeah. They're probably not invested in the things that they're telling you to invest in. And I learned that very, very quickly. I took some advice from a couple of IFAs who were supposed to be professionals, gave me the worst mortgage ever in all the years of me doing, being a professional property person. That first mortgage that I got was the worst mortgage I'd ever had. And that was from someone who was introduced to me who was a professional mortgage broker. Yeah. You know, now I'm not putting down there's obviously great people in the industry, but you got to know what you got to understand and know what you're doing.
Okay. So if then, you know, football players are earning all this money, of which, you know, we just kind of assume that, you know, these people have got good people around them, they're switched on, they're making all this money, they're driving nice cars, they've got nice things. So what does that say for the average person then, you know, like, you know, that wants to make a bit of money, you know, that sort of thing? I mean, you know, if footballers are earning all this money and not, you know, always taking care of their own sort of individual finances and stuff, you know, what would you say to the everyday man then?
Okay, so again, bringing it back into context, it's not all football players. It's a very small percentage of footballers now, I believe, that are going broke. Yeah, the percentage has definitely got less than, and the training and the education now around, you know, your finances and your money is definitely, you know, in a good place, I would say. The challenge is whether people want to listen to that education, whether they want to take time to learn about that education. Yeah. So when you bring it back to the normal man in the street, same thing. Yeah. Whether you're earning £100,000 a week or £100,000 a year, all right, you can become a millionaire if you're earning like £30,000 a year. You just got to know what you're doing with your money and do it regularly. even if that is just investing in something regularly. Yeah. People don't want to learn and don't want to take responsibility. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Yeah. You've got to want to learn and take responsibility for your actions. And that scares people. That's why they don't start.
So following on from obviously professional football, you've gone on to become a very successful property entrepreneur. Yeah. I mean, obviously I've known you for a long time. I know the sort of figures, I know the sort of properties that you've developed, and I think we've spoken about, that you've done, almost £40 million worth of property transactions, over the years. I mean, what's that been like? What's that journey been like? In terms of coming out of professional football, now going into property development. What's that been like for you?
So again, it was something that I always planned. I bought my first property at 18. My second property at 19, and then from there it was just ongoing. Every year I'd be buying and selling a couple of properties. Even playing professional football, I set up my property company. My first property company when I was 21. I had people working for me whilst I was traveling around. I'd be in wherever, Newcastle or Sunderland or somewhere like that, and I'd have people working, doing up properties and stuff like that. So the journey was always planned for me. Since retiring, I was able to go on full time, and that's when we really stepped it up, and I started investing alongside lots of other wealthy people, and controlling big property developments and stuff like that. Had it been easy? Hell no. Have I been right on the line many times? Yes. To the point where, you're sitting down negotiating with the banks, not to just pull the rug underneath you, and you're saying, look, just give us another 12 months. We can get through this together. That's what the banks want to hear. They want to hear that confidence. They want to know that, you've got a plan. But you know what they say, you've got to keep striving. You've got to keep pushing. I think I'm lucky enough that I've surrounded myself with good people, people more experienced than myself. I've always wanted to get to the next level, but I've always gone and got that advice. I've not just jumped in and just gone and done it. I've tried to do it with business partners who are already there, so they can bring me up to their level. But yeah, it's been ups and downs, 100%.
Okay, cool. Because I know you've had bars as well, in central London, bars and restaurants and all sorts, So, again, I mean, has that journey been quite a difficult journey? Has that been a challenge for you? Like, what was that like, running that alongside properties as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought I was getting into a property play when I started up my bars in the middle of the West End. Completely different business. Yeah, absolute, complete different business. This was the biggest learning curve I've ever had, and one that I'm really grateful for. Nearly sent me broke. However, I'm very grateful for it, because I really quickly recognized the difference between a trading business that is reliant on income coming in on a daily basis, to hiring staff on a daily basis, to a property portfolio, which is basically, you buy it, you do it up, you put the builders in there, and after that period, there's no, it's just someone renting it out and there's money just coming in on a monthly basis, and all you're worried about really is at the end of every month, look in your bank account and see that they paid their rent. Yeah. To every day, you've got to buy stock, you've got to buy beer, you've got to buy wine, you've got to buy, all of this stuff is going on, and then you run out and then you've got no change, and then you can't, so it's crazy. The best lesson I've ever done. Like I said, was it profitable? No. One of my first businesses at that time, when I went into that business, everything I'd done had turned to gold. Everything, from literally every time I touched the property, I was making so much money. And that was a lesson for me. I got overconfident. Yeah. Okay. To the point where I just thought, yeah, no problem. We'll just go and buy this place in the middle of Wardour Street in the middle of central London. No problem. Oh yeah, we'll take that restaurant as well. I would, really and truly, I knew nothing about those businesses. I didn't know how they operated. I knew I liked the business because as a professional football player, growing up in London, I spent so much time in bars, restaurants, nice places. That was my ego that said, one day I want to own this type of thing, So that was the most challenging period in my whole business career. 3 years of owning bars and restaurants in the middle of central London. But without those 3 years, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Okay, cool. So that was a challenging time. And look, a lot of people out there, look, with those challenges, they would sink. you know, because it's not easy, you know, but what was it about you and your mindset that kept you afloat and kept you going? And, you know, even now, you've got this place, you know, you've got another bar here that we're seeing here now, like a workspace bar, you know. So tell us, you know, well, even though you went down and it was difficult, what kept you going? How did you get up and keep fighting forward?
Well, first and foremost, I think you have to understand at that moment in time, I was out. I was out the game. Yeah, as far as I was concerned, it was the most lowest I've ever been. And when people are in that position, it's not just a switch that one day you're just like, you know, oh, that happened. Oh, I'll just go to the next bit. That was my first real loss. Yeah, I had an early couple. Obviously, growing up, we grew up with not much. Yeah, so that was fine. I always had the attitude, well, as long as I've got more than what I've got growing up, I'm going to be all right. Yeah. Then I had that Chelsea kind of knockdown. Now, in hindsight, that was really good because it put me in a position where it's like, oh, right, okay. Like, again, I was always one of the best football players in school. I was always one of the best football players in the district and in the county. So not getting signed at Chelsea was quite a big knockback, you know. And for 2 weeks, I literally wallowed in my own pity and ended up, you know, going out and doing things that I would never have done if I was still at Chelsea. So the bar restaurant, when that happened, the only thing I had really as to take my mind back was the Chelsea moment. That wasn't enough for me to deal with the financial losses that I was of that situation. So it took me probably about 3 to 4 months of not knowing, you know, probably just walking around the block, being very like within myself.
Really?
You know, I can remember being at home. We'd moved into a little flat. You know, I had to sell 2 of my properties that I was living in. I just had 2 young kids at the time as well. And, you know, we had to go and rent a tiny little flat. And mate, you know, for the first 3-4 months, didn't know what to do with myself. I was thinking, shit, is this it? Like, what have I done? I've messed everything up. You know, probably 10 years of growing my property portfolio, messed it up in 3 years of running, you know, these bars and restaurants that just was sucking, bleeding money left, right, and centre. And then, you know, deep down within you, I think I started going to seminars. That was my introduction to seminars and real successful people. I remember, I think it was the first seminar, T. Harv Eker.
Okay.
I saw something online, you know, and it was T. Harv Eker, and he just said something and it resonated. And I just said, you know what, I need to go to this. And I went to this seminar and I just thought, where am I? I'm in the middle of like 5,000 crazy people. Like, you know, if anyone's ever watching this and they've ever been to sort of like a Tony Robbins seminar or something like that, I just walked in and I just went, by within an hour, I was thinking, get out of here, Cole, get out of here. But there was something holding me in there. And by the end of that weekend, I went back, you know, and I just show up. You know, I think something that one of the guys said on stage, like, you know, be here for the weekend, show up, just show up. So I thought, all right, show up. And at the end of that weekend, that is when I knew, okay, Cole, you know, you need to get up, you need to go again, you know. And one thing that I knew is that I learned very quickly that, you know, once you know something, once it's ingrained in you and you really know it, then you can always go back to that, you know. And I just thought to myself, things had changed because getting into property before, I had my income coming in from my job. I had always had the income coming in so I could get into property. I had money saved up. I was refinancing properties. This was different. I knew I had all the skills. I knew I had the contacts, but I didn't have any more money because I'd just been throwing at this business that was just going down and down and down and down. So I had to learn some new skills. And this was when I learned how to start borrowing money off of other people, OPP, other people's property, other people's money, OPM, other people's money. Yeah. And at the time I was thinking, no, this ain't going to work. But, you know, these webinars and seminars that I was going to, you know, I remember, I think another guy, Rick Otter or something like that, his name was, American guy or wherever, talking about property with no money down. I just started just engrossing myself with these strategies. And before I knew it, within 2 years, I built back a multi-million pound property portfolio again.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear us speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutsuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
Okay, so seminars has been something that has been quite important, quite key to your, for your motivation. Yeah, you'd say your motivation to kind of keep going again, and within a short period of time, you got back up on your feet and away you go. So, what's your thoughts then on, when we see these things out there, these events and these get rich quick, all you got to do, is come and do my Bitcoin thing, my trading stock markets thing. All you got to do, what's your thoughts when you see stuff like that? Knowing from a business owner, from a business owner, and obviously all of the journey that you've been on, when you see stuff like that, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm saying this now with hindsight, and I'm saying this now as someone who's probably spent over £50,000 on personal development, going to different courses, learning about different things. Okay, now the initial kind of stock market come and all of that stuff, you can spend 20 minutes a day and be a millionaire, is bullshit. Yeah, it's absolute fucking bullshit. Yeah. Now, can you be a millionaire from being a stock market trader? Yes. Can you be a millionaire from property development? Yes. Can you be a millionaire from starting up your own business? Yes. But you ain't going to be a millionaire fucking doing 20 minutes a day. It ain't happening. Yeah. You might set your trade, and that might only take you 20 minutes, But learning this stuff, this is a lifetime. I've been doing this now since I retired for 20 years as an entrepreneur, full time, going home 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. I've still not nowhere made the impact that I want to make, and I've been doing this for 20 years. Now, that's not to say you can make that journey shorter, because you can. Yeah, I've done all the mistakes in the book. Yeah, today's world with all of this AI, internet, all of this stuff, so much access, you can speed the process up, but you ain't doing it in 20 minutes a day. Yeah. So, yes, it's a marketing ploy. People need to understand it's a marketing ploy. If you want to be in something, you want to be a trader, you want to be a property developer, you want to be a business person, make that decision for the next 10 years. Don't just think you're going to a weekend and you're going to come out and know how to do this stuff. You're not. You're going to know how to go broke. That's what you're going to do. They won't tell you that because they want their £4,000, £5,000 or whatever. Yeah. If you decide to do this over a period of time, over a long period, you take the long kind of delayed gratification journey, you will be successful. You will be a millionaire if that's what you want to be. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, because obviously, you know, with what we do, our brand at Serious About Success. I mean, I got fed up with all of the whole get rich quick. All you got to do is this, and you'll be making all this money and all this type of bullshit. So really now understanding who you ultimately really need to become. That is obviously something that I looked at and thought to myself, look, this is what is real. Like all this other shit is not real. So what about then when you see things like on Instagram and social media, and you've got you know, the bling, the this, the yacht, and you've got, you know, that lifestyle, you know, tell me something from your perspective, you know, is that real? Because what I mean is that, you know, there's a lifestyle that's been promoted, that all you got to do is start making this money and then that's it. That, you know, you're on the other side of the rainbow, you know, life is good. You know, this is it. Now look, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying that, you know, creating financial wealth is not important for every person, like every man, every person. However, really and truly, you know, with what we see sometimes on social media, is that real?
Well, it might be real for that individual person, you know, so I'm not knocking that side of things. When I was 30, yeah, if social media was around then at 30 years old, I'd probably have had my phone out, you know, and I'd probably be jumping on I did, you know, jumping on helicopters, going over to Monaco and doing all that stuff. It's real relevant to the time of your life that you're in, yeah? Now, do I see a lot of fakers jumping on someone else's yacht, taking a quick picture and then posting it up saying, yeah, come and join me on my course. This is my yacht. You can have this. That's bullshit. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people out there who do have that yacht and have worked hard. They won't tell you they've probably been working behind the scenes for 10 years to get to where they are now. They'll just show you the highlights of the last, you know, come to my webinar and learn this in the weekend. They've probably been trying to pull off those webinars for the last 10 years, and then they found the right formula, you know? So, yeah, is lifestyle real? Some of the lifestyles that we see, yeah, they are real. But those people have probably been working behind the scenes, you know, doing different things for a longer period of time than what they will tell you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. So, all right, what about then some of this culture in terms of, like, you know, football players? You know, they have got this lavish lifestyle, you know, some footballers might have lots of women, all this type of stuff. You know, I mean, how have you benefited?
Well, I think you're being harsh on footballers there. Okay. I think it's not a football thing. I think it's a cultural thing where it's not, you know, it's people showing off their money or people showing off their lifestyle. Yeah. In fact, I'd go the opposite way and say, actually, you don't see that many footballers anymore doing that. Yeah. I think that's a tag that we picked up back in, you know, in my day of playing football, you know, when all of a sudden, you know, footballers would be in the clubs and they were seen more as celebrities. Today, going out in central London, very rarely will you see a professional footballer out in London. You know, that's not to say they don't go out, but it's much more of a private thing now because they're too scared to, because everyone will catch them on the mobile phone. Yeah. So I don't think it's about footballers having all these girls or whatever. I just think that that's a lifestyle thing that some people want to promote. Yeah. You could be, you know, a musician, you could be nobody, just an internet guru who's got loads of money. Yeah. You go to the central clubs now, central London clubs, you'll see a table with 40,000 pounds worth of champagne on their table. You know, all these lights going off and all that. I can guarantee you they're not footballers. Yeah, I get it. They're from whatever industry, and they've got the money and they're showing it off.
All right. Well, look, like staying on that then. Yeah, like you've had a relationship for a long time. Yeah, you know, how has, you know, having that stable relationship, that one relationship, that stable relationship, you know, how has that benefited you in terms of becoming even more of a successful man yourself?
Well, for me, I mean, I don't know what it's like not to be in a relationship. Yeah. So I can only talk about sort of like, for me, having someone strong by me, who's been with me from the very beginning. So seen ups, seen downs, seen good times, seen bad times. For me, it gives me a sense of, you know, I'm never looking over my shoulder thinking, oh, is this person, if I'd met someone late on, you know, then you kind of like can't help, I suppose, but think, this person with me because of where I am today, is this person because of the car I drive or whatever. It's given me stability in my life to be able to go away, do the things that I need to do, you know, work late, you know, go abroad and do deals if I need to do that, you know, knowing that I've got someone strong who's looking after my family, who's raising my children, who is dependable, who I can rely on, and I can get advice from as well.
So do you think that's important for, I mean, look, I realise that everyone's different and everyone's got their own journey, in this life. From your perspective, do you think that it's important to have that? Because what I'm basically getting at is, look, I'm not a huge fan of, you make a bit of money, you've now got to have, all this women here, there, everywhere. If anything, I think that takes away, from the, I think that takes away a certain element of that man. I think that takes away certain, you want to raise a family, you want to be a good role model for your child, for your son, for your daughter, at the end of the day, would you be happy if your daughter was, with a man that is sleeping with loads of, that is just got you, they might have money, but they're sleeping with lots of different women here, there and everywhere. I'm just not a massive fan. Just me personally, you've got different people out there that's got different sort of frames of mind in this space, but I think that, a true masculine man, my personal opinion, a true masculine man is somebody that cares about their wife, cares about their woman, cares about their family. And if by, no matter what, if by having lots of women, I mean, that might, that might have an impact on your family, that might have an impact on your wife, that might have an impact on their well-being. What's your thoughts about stuff like that? Can you see a lot of this stuff on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see that much on the internet of that sort of stuff because that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. I think life gives you whatever you look for. So for me, it's a case of I see lots of positive male role models who are raising their children, who are raising their kids, who are with their wives, and together they're building something for the future, because that's where I look, and that's the type of inspiration that I'm looking for. The other side of it, I don't agree with it. If you're asking me what's my opinion on it, then it's not for me. That's not how I was raised. I was raised to respect women, to love and adore, my wife and my family, and my whole purpose in life, everything I've done is to elevate my family, to make sure that in the future, when I'm long gone, that there's stuff in the future that for generations and generations can just keep going and keep going. Now, if I'm out partying and I'm out thinking about other women and, I'm out texting and messaging and doing all that stuff, I can't imagine how hard that must be to do all of that stuff and run a business where you're thinking about generational wealth. I've never had to do it. Maybe you'll have someone on your podcast who that's their game and that's what they love doing, and they can make it happen. I'll be watching that podcast to find out.
But like I say, I'm not in here to judge. That's first and foremost. People do what it is they're doing. I just find it interesting in different, how different people do things in a different way, and what your genuine feeling is, because sometimes I feel that there is almost like a culture that that you have to be this type of man to be a real man. So you have to be, you have to have that look, fuck it, fuck it. I'm going to have enough women. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a business. I'm going to get a six pack tomorrow. I'm going to do this. And that's what masculinity is. But I don't believe that it is. My personal opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know that because my circle of people, that's not the way that they portray themselves. Yeah, my family, I've got 2 boys, that's not the way they portray themselves, so like I said, if that is a certain element of culture, that's not the culture that I'm bringing into my world.
Okay. Yeah. So what then does success really mean to you, like true success? Again, we've spoken about financial stuff here, but what is true success to you?
So for me, I measure my success, I suppose, on kind of like my family, my circle of my inner circle of friends and people around me, business partners, friends, and true success for me is really achieving those goals that I set myself. Now, those goals can be in family, like for family goals, personal goals, business goals, monetary goals. it's just striving in the right direction. So I'm ticking off those goals as we go. Now, like I said, I like to, as I've got older, when I was younger, I was very just focused just on, the monetary goal, which would be, if that's a property deal, then it's the property deal that I need to get done to get the monetary goal. If it's playing football, then I'm just 100% fully in that. Since I've had children, and I'm getting to a stage now where actually I want to start enjoying some of this, So part of my goals is to be going away on a monthly basis or bi-monthly basis, to be spending more time with my wife and the people that I want to spend time with, my family and my boys. Not, hammering it down, doing this 5 a.m. thing and, working till 1 o'clock in the morning. I've done that, and I've done that for a long time. So true success to me now is different to what success was to me, 10 years ago. And it will be different in another 10 years. Right now, I'm about, yes, I want to work hard. I love what I do. I don't call it work. Yeah, I want to build a brand that's like worldwide, or certainly, starting out throughout Europe to start with. Whilst doing that, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to spend quality time with the people that I really want to be around, and I want to keep growing as an individual, as a person. I want my brain, I want a brain this big, full of knowledge, and I love learning. And the more, older I get, the more I want to learn even more.
Yeah, okay. So no doubt other people, even watching this podcast, are gonna listening to this podcast, are gonna aspire to create wealth, to create success, What would you say to people that are at the beginning of the journey, that are looking at, all I got to do, because I've seen this thing on YouTube, some ad saying all I got to do is this stock market thing, this forex thing, or some, AI, that's the new thing, So that all I got to do is press the AI button and that's it. I'm going to make money. What's the sort of advice that you would give people like that?
Forget it, man. Seriously, stop. I would just say, just stop. Think about, over the next 10 years, what is it that you want to achieve? People, we live in such an age of like, I want it now. We're just scrolling and flicking and pressing and, just stop. The successful people make it over a period of time. Okay. You can have it give yourself a 3 to 5 year plan. You'll be successful with AI, with all of this stuff. You'll definitely be successful if you give yourself a 3 to 5 year plan. Yeah. If you just say, I just want it now, I'm going to press this button and all of a sudden I'm the AI king and whatever, you'll get it and you'll lose it. Even if you do make it, you'll lose it, because part of that journey is understanding and appreciating, as the money comes in, what do I do with it? How do I set up bank accounts? How do I minimize my tax? That's all part of that 3 to 5 year journey. The minute you get it, if it just comes in like 2 minutes and you press a button and it's all in, you'll end up just giving it away, or you'll get like, you won't pay the right taxes and you'll end up losing it all anyway. Yeah. So, my message to anyone who thinks like, oh yeah, I'm just going to press a button and get rich is like, I promise you, like, take the time to actually learn what it is that you want to do. Yeah. And that you can go on these weekend courses because they're a really good idea and introduction to, when I first started going, I went to and spent a lot of money on these weekend courses, but with the mindset that it's going to tell me very quickly whether or not I actually could do this or want to do this for the next 5 years. So sometimes I'd spend £3,000, go on a course, come away from it and think, thank God I went on that, because I never want to fucking go anywhere near that again. Yeah. So actually it was the best £3,000 I'd ever spent, because it saved me 5 years of going down the wrong road, a path that I didn't want to go down. Yeah. So I would just say, like, and this is like, some people go, I'm not going to fucking wait around for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not saying wait around. I'm saying start your thing, start your business, start your training course, start whatever it is you want to do. But give yourself 3 to 5 years. Learn about it every day. Become the best at it.
Yeah. So becoming good at what you do. I mean, some of the things of what I tell a lot of my students is that, look, stop focusing on the money. Yeah. Stop making, like, sometimes they're like, Jay, I want to make money. Jay, I want to, yeah, but the money, Jay. Yeah, but the money, Jay. Yeah, but where's, yeah, but the money, Jay. And it's like, look, stop focusing on the money and become good at what you do.
Yeah.
When you become good at what you do, then you can't not then go on to make money. Yeah, would you agree with that?
100%. Look, money comes to value.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way that you can put value out into the world and not get paid for that. All right. The more value you put out in the world, the more money you get. Simple as that. So spend time building your value. Yeah. Spend time becoming and knowing the value that you offer. And once you have that, and once you're so valuable, you can just walk down the road and someone will just be throwing money at you because they just need what you can offer them. You know? So like, and this is the thing, people have a reverse mindset. They just think that they can walk down the road and they want this money. No, it doesn't work like that. There's a reason why a small amount of people own the most amount of money, because they offer somewhere deep down, if we're all really honest, they offer the most value. You know, they've managed to find a way where they can get to as many people as possible with their value, and people pay for that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So people that do struggle in this area, then, you know, so I mean, 'cause obviously we've both seen it a lot over the years. Yeah. You know, that desire to create wealth. However, you know, not everybody. I mean, I believe that anyone can become successful, but not everybody is prepared to really adapt the qualities and the habits that they need in order to become successful. So, you know, what sort of psychological barriers do you think stand in the way of people really achieving success? And, you know, what is it they really need to address?
Oh, it's a deep question, man.
We can't deep, man. I told you, we can't deep.
Psychological barriers. I mean, the things that stand in people's way, you know, short term, I would say, short term thinking. They're probably seeing all of these people around them on their phones, you know, and seeing that, oh, this person's got this car or driving that. I mean, the laziness, you know, not being willing to do the hard work. You know, what is hard work? Well, it might be reading a book. It might be getting a book on something like, I know, sales, for instance. Everyone needs to know how to sell. Yeah. And it might be like, right, I've got to read this book, and the book might be that big. I've got books like literally right behind you. There's a reason. Because if I get a spare minute in here when I'm doing in between work or in between meetings, I grab one of the books. Yeah. Is someone prepared to do that? No. When I test people, like for instance, if someone asks me, oh, will you mentor me, or can I come and work for you? The first thing I say, yeah, no problem. I'll tell you what you need to do. Okay. Our interviews start at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah. Be at this place at 5:30. They look at me like I'm crazy. 5:30? Oh, yeah, that's what time the interview starts. That's just a test. Yeah, I very rarely get out of my bed at 5:30, but for the interviews I will, because I want to know if that person really wants to get out of bed and whether they want to do it. Most people can't even get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So does that show that they really want it then? What do you think? What does that show then?
It shows that they're full of bullshit. From the time, are they on time? From that moment, it's like, okay, if you can't show up on time for an interview to potentially pay you X amount of money, to potentially put food on your table, to potentially feed your family, what type of person are you? Yeah. And then, you know, and then I'll go on from there. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Things happen. Yeah. Like you literally could have left 2 hours early and you got a puncher. All right. Okay. But how did you deal with that? Did you make phone calls? Did you email? Did you say, look, I'm stuck on the middle of the motorway. I'm on my way, but I've got a puncher. How did you deal with that scenario, that situation? Because for sure, shit happens. Yeah. And things will come up in your life. It's about how you get over those things and how do you deal with it? You know?
Okay. So what about, like, we're going deep here, yeah? What about like people's upbringing? Yeah. Let's just say, for example, you know, if you've always been told that, you know, you're not really going to amount to much. Let's just say, you know, you build up some real self-confidence issues of you want to become successful, you want this, but you've always been told that, you know, you're not really going to amount to much. You know, how do you think those type of psychological barriers can kind of grow within you? And I'm not even just talking about when it comes down to achieving success in business here. I'm talking about sport as well. You know, so say, for example, as a professional sports athlete, if you was told, no, you're not going to achieve it. Oh, no, don't do that because, you know, the chance of you actually making professional football, you know, is slim to none. So, you know, get yourself a profession, get yourself a trade, yeah? something like that. So, how do you think that has a part to play in people achieving success, and how do you overcome things like that, do you think?
So first and foremost, you're talking about environment, like, where you're brought up, the environment that you're in, will dictate, your levels of success. And I do believe that, I do believe that if you're brought up in an environment where it's very positive and everyone's obviously giving you positive feedback and they're aspiring for you to be successful, you're probably going to get more people in the successful world from that environment. Okay. I grew up in a very negative environment, in a sense of, not negative in my household. My household was fantastic. Okay. But the estate that we grew up on, there was no positive role models. Everybody on that estate had been told that they were never going to really achieve anything. Yeah. There was no level of aspiration within the people that lived on the estate. So it was on me to have to overcome that. Now, this is where personal development really plays a key role, because if you're surrounded by everybody who's negative, everybody who's telling you that, you're not going to make it, you're not going to be successful. And at school, that was my environment. Okay. At school, I grew up dyslexic, speech impediment, went to kind of like a disabled school for, people with speech problems and stuff like that at a very young age. So, that for me, I was always told that, you're never going to become anything when it comes to education. Okay. How did I escape that? I'm very lucky. I actually look back and I think, because out of all of my group of friends that I grew up with on that estate, probably 15, if I said there's 15 really close friends, probably 12 of them are either dead or spent the last 15 years in prison. Why? Not because they were bad kids, because they wasn't, because I grew up with them from the age of like 6, 7 years old. The environment, they believed the environment, what the environment was telling them. Everybody around them that was telling them the negatives, they started to believe it. I was so lucky that at the time I pulled myself out of that, because I was going to Chelsea 2 or 3 times a week, where it was more of a positive environment. Coaches were saying, pat me on the back, and Cole, you're a really good player. I had that positive feedback coming back to me a couple of hours a week, every couple of days. The rest of the time, whilst I was at school and stuff, it was very negative, but those little positives for me was enough for me to go, well, hold on a minute. It can't be true. The teacher, when I go to school, is telling me I'm never going to amount to nothing. Yet when I go to Chelsea in the evening, the coach is telling me you're going to be an excellent player. You're a brilliant football player. So someone's lying. And I chose to believe the positive side of things. Now, if you're growing up in an environment where there's no positives whatsoever, of course you're going to struggle. Of course, because you don't know any different. I had to, at 16, pull myself out. I had to take myself out of West Kent Estate. I couldn't live there anymore, because the group of kids that I'd grown up with from 6, 7 years old had got worse and worse and worse. Their negativity had got worse and worse and worse. They were robbing, stealing, doing all sorts, as young kids do who grow up in a very negative environment. If I didn't pull myself out of that, I was going to get sucked into it. Yeah. So again, very lucky that I had my mum and my brothers and stuff around me to protect me. Yeah. But if you're growing up in that environment, the only way to really survive is to take yourself out. Again, so lucky I had a mentor who, again, gave me positive feedback. Carl, you're not that. Why are you hanging around in that group? That's not you. You're better than that. You can do better things. You can achieve better things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So, you mentioned about getting a mentor, and look, I'm a huge fan, of, you've got to have a mentor, like, obviously you've had a mentor from a young age. I've had mentors. My mentors have had mentors. Their mentors have had mentors. So mentoring is huge. But what if you're watching this podcast right now, and you're listening to the podcast, and it's like, look, all right, well, it's all right for them. It's all right for him. Well, he was good at football. All about me. I'm on an estate in South London somewhere. I'm on an estate, I haven't got these role models. Where do I find a mentor? No one is coming to save me. What would you say to people like that?
Yeah, totally understand. I mean, the one thing I would say is at the time, I didn't know they were mentors. Okay. I had a youth worker, all right, who, worked on the estate with all of the kids. Yeah. I call him a mentor now because I understand what mentoring is, and that is what he done for me. Okay. Where does that person now who's looking at that? And we're living in the internet age. I listen to all these podcasts and I still implement things in my life now from listening to a podcast. That kid goes and he listens to people like Stephen Bartlett, where he can download and listen to hours and hours of positiveness and find the information. The great thing is today that we didn't have back then is the information. The internet is out there and there's so many people like yourselves who are starting up positive podcasts, other people out there who've been fantastic information. Read the books, study the individuals. You don't have to be one-on-one with a person for them to be your mentor. Okay. I call people mentors. I've never met them before in my life. Barack Obama, I've read all his books. I've watched all of his documentaries. Bob Marley, grew up listening to his music, watched every film on YouTube there is about him. These are all mentors of mine. I've never met them.
So you've been inspired. So you've been inspired by a lot of people around you.
And I listen to what they say, and I think actually, that makes sense. So I'm going to adapt that into my life. So by you taking something from someone, that you study and that you understand and that you get into their mindset, then they're mentoring you. They're just mentoring you through a book or mentoring you through a video or mentoring you through a TV series. Yeah, it's what you choose to take from it.
Okay. I mean, look, one of the things of what I've often said as well is that, look, there are successful people around you. Yeah, like, all right, even if you do live in an area that is not so affluent, no doubt somewhere in and around that area, there's going to be somebody successful. They could be the person that runs the restaurants, the person that owns a car garage or something like that. And, I've often said things like, well, what's to stop anyone from going up to that successful person, and saying, look, I've just been coming to your restaurant for the last 5 years. I've seen how you've grown. I'm really inspired by what it is that you do, and literally asking them, will you mentor me? Now, the thing is that, look, sometimes, that mentor, they might want something for it because obviously they might not necessarily have the time. And, if you do not have the financial availability to pay that mentor, I've often said things, well, why don't you add value in another way? Offer to wash that mentor's car, for example. Look, I'll come down once a week on a Friday and I'll wash that mentor, and I'll wash your car for a week, every single week. If, in exchange, you can maybe give me an hour of your time once every 2 weeks. What do you think a mentor like that would say? What do you think somebody like that would say if somebody hungry came and, was also prepared to offer some sort of value in exchange for their time? What would you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've had this discussion many times over the years with individuals and stuff like that. And I agree with you, there's got to be an exchange of value. I always bring it back to sort of like value. What can you bring? And most people will say, but what could I bring? I can't bring anything. This guy's super successful. Look, you don't even have to, the person who you want to be your mentor doesn't even have to know that they're mentoring you. Yeah. To a certain extent, you can go and just say, look, like you mentioned the restaurant, all right? You say, look, I see that you've had this restaurant. It's really cool. I'd love to offer my services. Could I come in and, just do the dishes? Yeah. I'm looking for some work experience. I want to put it on my CV. Yeah. I'll even come in and just sort of like, just do that to start with. And if I can help you sweep up afterwards, or I can help you do whatever afterwards, that'd be great. Your goal is to get closer to the knowledge. Yeah. So yes, you could go down the route of, oh, could you mentor me? However, if someone walked in here right now and just said, oh, will you mentor me and I'll do X? I'm probably going to look and go, look, I'd love to mentor you, but I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I've got to travel. I'm in this country, that country. It might not work for me. Yeah. But if you just said, look, I've got a member of staff here, like literally, they just come in and I know what they're doing. They want to be a business person. They want to be an entrepreneur. And they've very cleverly got themselves a job here, weekend job or whatever. And every time they're on shift, like they're asking me questions and, oh, how's that work? And, oh, how's this work? Fantastic. Yeah, they've got themselves in the door. They're offering value, and now they're starting to get knowledge in return.
Yeah.
You know,
so you'd always find a way. Like
Find
if you
a way.
want it, if you want it that bad,
find a way. You know, look,
Yeah.
some people go, like some people don't. Successful people will feel that they're not even cut out to be a mentor for whatever reason. They may have like a mentor. No, I don't mentor people. Yeah, they must mentor people because successful people, in order to be successful, most successful people have to build a team. Yeah, if you're building a team, then you're mentoring other people. Because just by the nature of building a team, you have to grow other people, you know, to be successful and help your business become more successful. So they're mentoring other members of staff to be successful. So some people don't even recognize that they're mentors, you know. So yeah, if someone's looking out there, like you said, find the most successful person in your area and go and do something for that person. Stop going in with the mentality of, like, even the mentality of, will you mentor me? That's a kind of asking mentality. Again, you're taking. You have to go in with the mentality of, what can I give to start with? Again, the longevity. Yeah, I'm going to be around here, around this person for the next 12 months. What can I give them to start with to get me in the door? Once I'm in the door, then I'm going to work so hard that this person just recognizes me, and then I'm going to build a relationship with this person. Then I'll offer to take them for coffee. And then after maybe a month, I might ask my first question.
That's some great advice there, you know. So this is it, you know, if you're listening to this podcast, you know, and you're really keen on becoming successful and you don't have the right type of people around you, but, you know, you're giving some really good golden nuggets here. So I hope everyone's really listening, taking notes, taking this on board, and, you know, again, applying whatever it is that you are saying. So cool. Look, we're nearly at the end. Okay, so we're nearly there. You obviously have coached and mentored people over the years, you know, and, you know, you've seen people go from the very beginning, you know, and to go on to literally do really well. I mean, obviously, I know some of the people that you've mentored. Look, there's even been elements where you've even been a mentor to me over the years, you know. When you first met me, like, best part of, what was it? It was a good 11, 12 years ago. You know, I was in a day job and I looked up to you, you know. So what characteristics do you see succeeding the most with the people that you've mentored? What characteristics have they had that have then allowed them to go on to achieve the success of what you've seen?
So I suppose, you know, the things that stand out in different orders, you know, but certainly the things that stand out to people that I've worked with over the years, and you know, they're very, very successful now. Definitely every one of them are hungry. And I'm talking about starving. You know, I'm talking about they haven't eaten for months. That's how they come across. You give them a little piece of information and they are just running with it. And then they come back for more. Oh, you told me to do this. I've done it. What's next? You know, that as soon as I see that in someone, I know that person's going to be successful. They're not asking for all the information all at once, because when you're just starting out, you can't handle all the information. You just need tiny little bits, and then you need to go away and implement. Yeah. So that's the first characteristic. People that are hungry. Second, people that take action. Yeah. Action equals rewards. So I love to work with students and individuals who basically, you say, okay, do this. All right. And then I wait for them to come back and say, Carl, I've done that. I've done it. What do I do next? And then I feed them the next little bit. All right. So those two things, first and foremost, you've got to be hungry. All right. Hungry for success. Yeah. Not for food. Hungry for success. All right. And then you got to be able to take action. All right. You got to have so much resilience. So much resilience, because this game will knock you down so many times, man. You're just going to get punched in the face, left, right, and center. I don't mean physically, but I mean, like, it's going to happen. You got to be able to get up, look yourself in the mirror, dust yourself off and go again. Yeah. Most people can't hack that. That's the bit that gets people. They get knocked down once, twice, and then after that, they're gone. And they're just like, oh, it's not going to work. I know what? I'll be a trader. I'll be a financial trader. And then they make a little bit of money. Then they make a little bit more money, and then they lose it all. And then they go, oh, this is too painful. I'm going to be a property developer. And they jump on and jump off. So you got to be resilient. You got to be hardworking. You got to be hungry for success. What other characteristics? Knowledge. You got to want the knowledge. You got to be, coachable. They call it coachable. That coachable might come through a book. It might come through a mentor. It might come through a podcast. Whatever it is, you got to be able to get that knowledge and want to learn from it. And then what else? I don't know. Finally, I suppose you've just got passion. People talk to me about passion all the time. I think what passion does, it's good if you're passionate. You don't have to be passionate. It's good if you're passionate because it will give you the energy to go again. When you get knocked down, if you're so passionate about something, it will help you get back up off the floor. So yes, passion is important. It's not the be all and end all, because you can always turn passion into something. You don't have to be passionate about washing dishes. You can be passionate about the £10 that you receive for washing the dishes. Then you can take that £10 and you can turn that £10 into £100. So you can always find a passion within what it is you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people say to me, Carl, I'm not going to start that business because I'm not passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
passion don't always pay. Like, passion's not always gonna pay the bills because you might be passionate about something that is difficult to create a business model out of that.
Exactly.
Because people don't want it. People don't want to buy that. So it's
sometimes I say to people, look, okay, I get you're passionate about that, all right, but you're really good at this. You've been doing this for 20 years. You're really good at it. So do this, make loads of money from it, and then go and put some of that money into that passion thing that you love. But this is the thing that's going to make you the money. So
there you have it.
Right.
Cool, man. So look, where can people find you, Carl? Like, we're here at your place down in Surrey. Like, give people an idea where they can find
so
you,
basically,
your web address.
Yeah, so this you can email us, and this is one of our new businesses that we're just about to start up called Simple Place. So you can email us at info@simpleplace.com. You can hook me up on Instagram and Facebook at Carl Hutchings UK. And you can DM me, message me, ask me any questions that you want.
Well, now you get a truckload of people now. I got time to answer all these questions,
No, it's all good, man. We're here. This is an entrepreneurial space. We're creating these entrepreneurial spaces all over the UK. So we're here to help out and try and give back some of that knowledge that we've learned over the last 20 years.
Brilliant. And look, finally, I know that you are a Chelsea guy, right? You're a Chelsea guy. And at the time of this recording, man, what is going on with your team, my brother? What is going on with your team?
Well, look, like any business, you have to sometimes take time out and restructure.
Is that what's going on then? Yeah.
So we're just taking time out. We're restructuring. We're remolding, redeveloping, and then we come back again.
Yeah, you should have. Maybe you should have just picked a better team. Yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Well,
at the time of the recording,
at the time of recording this, there's only one team in London that are champions. Still been champions.
All right, anyway, yeah. Anyway, right, we're done. Look, thank you so much for checking in on today's podcast. Look, no doubt we might even get you back on the show at some point, So really good. But you've shared some really good insights here, Some of the things that what you've shared, really, really, really good stuff. Any final little comments? Anything else you want to say whatsoever? Look, get out here. Here's your final chance. Anything else, my man?
No, I would just say, look, whatever it is that you want to achieve, go for it. Don't sit back waiting. Life is short. When you get to my age now, you realize, oh my God, I look back and when I was 20, 21, 22, I thought I was taking action back then. If I had the chance to go back again, I'd even 10x it, even more back then. And I was doing very well back then. So whatever it is you're doing, just take the action, get out there and make it happen, man. We live in today's world. You can make it happen. You can be very wealthy within 12 to 18 months, if you learn the right things and you stick at it. But give yourself 3 years to 5 years, and I would say that's when you'll learn to hold your wealth.
Cool. Love it. Brother, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
I will look forward to touching base with you again very soon. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Cheers.